بسم الله. طيب. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أفضل المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وبعد. جزاكم الله خير for attending. And I'm a little bit, I was at the doctor and I took some medication and like my tongue is a little bit heavy. So forgive me if I'm speaking in any strange way, right? So I apologize for that. Here, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let our tongues in all conditions be loose in His dhikr, inshallah, in His remembrance under all our conditions, inshallah. Here. طيب. As we go with the hikam of Ibn Ata'illah al-Secondary, as I was speaking in the Khatira, the hikam of today is a combination of many wisdoms, and it starts with something along the lines of hidden desires. The word hidden desires. There are desires. There are things in this life that we know. We know that this is a desire, especially physiological ones. We're aware of, and we sometimes even when we end up falling into them, we know we made a mistake. But the most serious of things are things that we're not aware of. The most serious of diseases, may Allah protect all of us, is the disease with no symptoms. I think I'm okay, but I'm not, right? So here he gives us one of those which is very interesting. And before I tell you the hikmah, I'm going to give it with a story. A story, and then, because this is a very common story along the path to Allah. So this is a story of a person, a regular person, but he starts worshipping Allah, starts getting close to Him, and starts enjoying salah, enjoying Quran, enjoying dhikr, enjoying dua. And then he starts, Ya Rabbi, I wish I had more time. I wish I had time to pray more. I wish I had more time to read Quran. I wish my job is taking me off. You know, I have to go to work and I have to do many things. And this is taking my time that I only wish I had time because I enjoy worshiping you. So he made dua, Ya Rabbi, all what I want, I know I have to work to eat. But if you were to provide for me just 2 loaves of bread every day, right? Khalas, I'll be good. I'll eat them and I'll spend all the time doing what? Worshipping you. No need to work 6 hours or 8 hours a day. So just give me 2 loaves of bread and free me for your worship, right? And he made this dua. And you know, when sometimes we ask things, right? And here is what happened. Eventually, a few months later, he's in the marketplace. He got accused of something. And he didn't do anything wrong. He got accused, and the judge ruled that he's guilty, and he found himself in prison. And every day in prison, he gets 2 loaves of bread. What's happening here? You asked for it. You asked for time to worship Allah, didn't you? Here. Who said it's going to be easy? So what I'm referring to is there is on the path to Allah, there is many ways. And Allah knows who is fit for what. There is 2 paths. Path of tajreed and path of asbab. The path of tajreed, those are people that Allah created and He put them in such a situation that they don't need to do they don't have to interact with means. Sometimes it can be, I was born into a big family, I have some inheritance and I'm good. Sometimes, may Allah protect all of us, I'm born with some condition that I cannot work, and therefore the government pays for my bills and I'm not working, right? Sometimes it's this. I did something wrong in my life and I end up in prison for the next 10 years. What am I doing in those 10 years? You see the idea? So sometimes there are certain group of people that Allah, in life, He puts them in a condition, you can't work, you can't gain, you can't benefit society in a way, right? You cannot be a doctor, you cannot be an engineer, right? And people ask, Ya Rabbi, when I'm in that, if you only gave me the ability, I would go and I would be one of those doctors curing people. I would be giving them medicine and I'll be doing good deeds and I'll be earning money and giving charity. Look at what I'm looking at. Yet the person that Allah gave the means and he's educated and he got the knowledge and he's outside and he's a doctor, what is he asking for? Oh, Ya Rabbi, if you only freed me from this, I would do what? I would worship you through rituals. So here, Ibn Ata'illah Secondary identifying this, that oftentimes people, it's a common mistake, the grass is greener on the other side, right? And those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I chose for you, I gave you intelligence, I give you the ability, you're an engineer. Serve me through that. You'll find them wanting to serve Allah through what? Rightfully so, rituals. And some other people, Allah did not give this, but gave the other, what if I'm in prison for 20 years? And I come and ask you, brothers, I feel I'm not significant at all. I'm not contributing anything to the ummah. I'm not serving anybody. See how I'm feeling? I wish I was outside like you, so I can benefit other people. While the person outside is saying, what? I wish I had your time, so I can make dua all the time for the ummah. You get it? The person in prison, I tell him, no. Who said that you're not serving the ummah? You standing, I can't stand all the night and pray. I have a job, I'm tired, you have kids. What do I do? But Allah freed you from this. You standing all the night and praying, you think the ummah does not get victory through your dua? So you have a role. Allah established you in this. So if you're in this position, fulfill it. And for the one who's maintaining the means, and Allah established you for that. Stop looking at the other side. So Ibn Ata'illah Secondary says something here. He says what? إرادتك التجريد مع إقامة الله إياك في الأسباب من الشهوة الخفية. وإرادتك الأسباب مع إقامة الله إياك في التجريد انحطاط عن الهمة العالية. He says what? You wanting تجريد. تجريد meaning what? يا ربي خلاص, remove me from the means, remove me from jobs, remove me. I just want to worship you. Right? It sounds good, it sounds nice. But he says what? That can be a hidden desire. What is the desire in this? Sometimes I say good things. If Allah takes away, I don't have to work, if I have $10 million in the bank and I don't have to go to my job, man, I'll be memorizing the Quran. Man, I'll be praying all day, right? Right? He's saying, no. Sometimes I want tajreed because I think it's easier. I think many times students in the university see that a lot. UCI and say, I want to become a sheikh. Right? It's nice. Right? And they say, okay, why? And the reason is very simple. The university is difficult. Physics is hard. Biology is hard. Chemistry is hard. Psychology is hard. Doing the homeworks is hard. Right? And trying to do those things and worship Allah is hard. Right? So what is he thinking? Those shuyukh, ya akhi, have it good. What is their life like? Think about it. They go in the morning, what do? They sit with another sheikh to learn about Allah. Isn't that nice? And then they have time to do what? Do their dhikr. And then they have time to learn hadith. And then they go home and then they go to what are they doing all day long? They're speaking about Allah. Ya salam, this is so good. You think it's easy? You get the idea? So sometimes the nafs, I want to become a sheikh is actually a hidden desire in me of what? I don't want to exert that much effort. I want Allah, but the easy way. And I found it. Becoming a sheikh is what? I become, alhamdulillah, like this is and then in my head is what? A sheikh sits in the masjid, mashallah, people love him, and there is nothing challenging. I don't have to worry about my boss and my meetings, and I can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's easy. But in reality, it's a shahwah. It's a desire for ease. A desire, I have a desire for Allah, but the truthfulness. Who said it's easy? You think the job of the sheikh is easy? And that's why when you go study abroad, many people turn back and say, I cannot do it. It turns out to be harder than here. You go to Al-Azhar, you're going to take 10 subjects. You're going to be up at 6 a.m. From Quran to Hadith to Usul al-Fiqh to legal theories to philosophy to psychology it's not easy. Memorizing the Quran is not easy. You think the nafs it's not going, and dealing with people, you think a sheikh, ask any sheikh, is it easy dealing with the Muslims? What do you guys think? Some people that are on the board, you can tell your man, subhanallah, it's like, I heard from a sheikh, I won't tell you the name, but wallahi, this is a true story from a sheikh who came to the United States and he started flipping burgers and he's the imam of a masjid. And he told me, well, Brother Hassan, flipping burgers is easier. Easier. It's not as rosy as you think. Tajreed is not easy. This man that ended up in prison, you want tajreed? Tajreed sometimes come in a very difficult way. Sometimes tajreed is, what if I am inflicted with a disease, I end up being bedridden? That's tajreed. It's not in my hands anymore. Khalas. Something happened and the government is spending on me, and in that case I say, what is my function anymore? That's tajreed. Your function now is worship. So it's not usually easy. You get the idea? Now, he's saying what Ibn Ata'illah says, be careful. Sometimes me wishing not being where Allah placed me is, I'm opting out. I want the easy way out. I'm saying this is too difficult. The other path is, and it's not, Allah knows this. If I was to put you in the path of a sheikh, you might not be able to take it. A psychologist is a lot easier for you. A lawyer is much easier for you. Trust me. Right? And what if Allah wanted me to worship Him through this? I want you to become a lawyer. People need a doctor. That's what I chose for you. I want you. I gave you talent. I gave you IQ. I gave you things. I want you to do this. And I say, no, 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 no. I want it the other way. The correct thing, I want what Allah wants for me. And I need to exert effort. And I'm going to speak about that, right? And vice versa. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frees a person. You know, I'm 60 years old, khalas, I retire, and I'm sitting home, and you see it. Some people say, I'm too bored, what am I doing? No, no. Alhamdulillah, if you saved enough and your family is good and you have time, that's the time. That's the time. Now worship Allah. Now do dhikr. Now do the Quran. Allah freed your time for Him. No, I need to be doing something. I need to apply for another job. Why? Why? You know what I mean? So he's saying, be careful. Sometimes what motivates us to change, it looks outside, you're seeking Allah, but sometimes it's a hidden reason of what? Seeking comfort. Seeking the easier path. It's always good to seek the easier path. But I don't know which one is easier for me. Just trust Allah in that. Now, what is a sign of this? And that, again, is one of the hikam that is very beautiful, number 18. He says, and this is the sign. If you want to know that, do I change career or not? How do I know? Is it for Allah, the one that wants to become a sheikh? This young man who says, brother, I want to become a sheikh. How does he tell? Is that really coping out, or he's sincere? Ibn Ata'illah says, إحالتك الأعمال على وجود الفراغ من رعانات النفس. You postponing doing good deeds till you find the time that you're free is from the audacities of the self. Meaning what? I'll give it with that example. So that young man who comes at the age of 19, 20, yeah, brother, I want to become a sheikh. You know, alhamdulillah, I'm going to go to Egypt and Al-Azhar and then memorize the Quran. I say, okay, right now. Oh, I'm in college. I say, while you're in college, did you start memorizing the Quran? No. Did you read any book of hadith? No. Did you go attend any lectures here? No. Did you attend any seminary here? No. I will memorize Quran when I go there. You see the point? But right now, I'm busy. When I'm free, I will do. It's not that I don't want to do, I really want to. Right? But you see, I have college, I have classes, I have a family, I'm busy. So my plan is, when I leave, I will. What I postponed the doing of good deeds till what? The presence of space. Now, this is wrong in many ways. Number one, the sign of a person who's serious, you will find that he exhausted the means he already had. So if I see a young man at the age of 21 in the university, and he's successful, it's not that he's failing his classes, therefore he wants to become a sheikh, you know what I mean? Are you good? Yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm doing good in engineering, but I want to become a sheikh. I'm studying, I'm getting A's. So have you memorized the Quran? Not yet fully, but I have thrice a week with a sheikh, and I memorized half of it. I'm on the way. Do you attend lecture? Yes, yes. I enrolled in an online seminary and I started. You see what I'm doing? I'm showing Allah what? I'm taking all the means I can do. And then when I tell Allah, I did all what I want, I tell all what I can, that means what? It's not out of laziness. I'm exerting the effort. But if I find myself telling myself and others, I wish when I'm free, I will do this. When the weekend comes, I will start reading Quran. Yeah, it's true, I'm busy, but no, the criteria is what? I didn't tell you read 2 juz every day. Can you read 1 page every day? And when the weekend comes, do read 5 juz. But the sign is what? In any given portion of time, I'm pushing to do whatever I can in it. And here he's saying, why is the audacity of the nafs? Because waiting till I'm free will never happen. If I'm waiting for the right time to come, where the life of this world and shaitan gives me nothing to do, it's never going to happen. I have to create that time. The time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not something that you wait for it to happen. It is something I work for. I exert effort to empty my time. Emptying time is ibadah. Emptying time by itself. I know it's strange. I'm required to exert effort to empty time. Give me examples. Even with married people, you guys know this. Married people with kids. If you say, okay, I'll sit with my wife when I have time, the kids are not going to give me any time. They're going to take all my time. They're kids, right? Can't ask them. To free time for me and my wife, me and her must do what? Actively plan for it. Actively, literally push things to the side so that we have time for ourselves. If I do not do that, what happens? It will never happen. So Ibn Ata'illah Secondary says one of the biggest traps is what? You thinking that this time will come by itself. It's not the sunnah of this life. Time to do things, faragh, and emptiness, space, is something you have to push and strive. And that is why, even with shuyukh, you'll find after salah, for example, we're praying and then there is the time for, adhkar. I know certain shuyukh, you cannot talk to him after salah, no matter who you are, no matter what's going on. After salah, it's time for dhikr. Do whatever. There is a program, there is no program, people come, people want. I just finished salah, I'm not speaking to anybody for 10 minutes. That's it. I make that space. It's a rule. I create that space. That's a space for Allah. I don't say, whenever I pray and people don't talk to me, I will then do my dhikr. What will happen? You don't blame people. People don't realize what you're doing. They'll come and talk and chat. Right? So the value of time. So when the Salaf, like one of them was again walking, and somebody likes chatting, chit-chatting, right? So this guy is walking, and this one of his friends, stop. I just want to chit-chat with you. It's nothing. It's not I have a mas'ala or no. We just want to chit-chat, right? And he looked to him and said, "Hold the sun." What does he mean by that? Hold the sun. Stop time. He said, time is very valuable. So you want to take some, can you hold the sun for me? Like, can you stop that? Can you stop that clock? If you can't, time is valuable. I just don't have that, right? Ibn al-Jawzi, one of the things he used to do, and he writes in his Sayd al-Khatir, one of his biggest dilemmas, and he's a generous person, known to people. And he loves ilm and authoring books and, and studying, it's his thing. Yet people love him, and people come and visit him. You see that, I have those guests that come and I have to sit with them, but if I sit with them, time is passing, right? And he said, I found an interesting thing. He said, when we sit together, back in the day, the pen they used to write with is made of wood and you have to sharpen it, right? It's like, so he said, I use that time. I get all the pens, give each one, start sharpening the pens. We can talk while we're doing this. So when you guys leave, all the pens are ready. I can, right? So he's doing something meanwhile, right? But the idea of I cannot expect on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that time will be given to me, then I worship. That's what he's saying. He says that's the audacity of the self, right? I have to create time. And you all know the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ibn Adam tafarragh li'ibadati amla qalbak aw amla sadrak ghina. Son of Adam, empty yourself, empty. Exert effort to empty. Create time for my ibadah. I will fill your heart with richness. And if you don't, Don't meaning what you're doing halal things, good things, but you just simply just go with the flow. Here is what happens. I will fill your hands with work and you will never be satisfied. So if I want less work, if I want barakah in my studies, if I can empty time for Allah, literally, Allah will put blessings in my time at work. And the feedback will be what? And this is interesting. By the way, I'll tell you something. Okay, this is a side reflection from Ibn Ata'illah Secondary, but it's very deep, right? What is the reason for that? The hadith is saying what? If you're a person that you're trying to push and create time to worship Allah in your empty time, Allah will take care of all your affairs and will give you more of that. And if you're a person that doesn't do that, just you're waiting, till the right time comes, and you're busy with many things, Allah will make you even busier. He will create more work for you. You will never get free time. What's the wisdom? That's in his other book, Tanwir fi Isqat al-Tadbir. Ibn Ata'illah points to something very subtle. He says, that is the rahmah of Allah. How is that rahmah of Allah? And he says, look, and I can judge myself. I'll judge myself. If I have a long weekend coming, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, right? And let's say the kids and their mom are gone, and I have the time for myself. What do I do? If I find myself, I spent my weekend binge watching Netflix, right? And hopefully halal things. But I'm binge watching, right? And then what? And then I went and ate. And you know how the day passes? And you're just sitting on bed and what did you do? No, I just sat, right? The more time I'm given, the more time I waste. There are certain people, when you give them free time, what do? They go and do haram things. And you find it in universities. And Ibn Ata'illah says, don't you see that certain people, when Allah gives them free time, when Allah gives them a holiday, what do they do on their holiday? What do most people do on the weekend? Saturday night, where are they? Doing what they're doing. So when Allah sees that this person, when he's given time, he disobeys me more. What is rahmah for this person? Do not give him time. And he says, what do you think will happen if that person got 7 days free? He parties it will be so bad for him and the society, right? So Allah's saying, okay, the least damage for you is not to be given any free time because you abuse it in the wrong way. You get it? So it's better at least to fill your hands with work that might benefit other people. You get the idea? So what he's saying is the following. When Allah sees me, that whenever I have some free time, I put it towards Him. That I'm pushing and exerting effort. Allah, that person, if he's given time, it's good for him. Give him time. And when Allah sees the opposite, that when given free time, I'm abusing it, the best thing for that person is what? Take away free time from him. At least let him work. Maybe somebody else benefit from him being a doctor, from him being an engineer, as a lawyer. At least he's not damaging himself or others. So keep his hands filled. Right? So the key for barakah, the key to find time is what? To empty time and not postpone deeds. If I cannot do everything when I'm free, start doing something small right now. I can always do dhikr. How much dhikr I'm doing? Let Allah see that I started. Let Allah see that I pushed even 5 minutes. That I'm exerting effort to push and create time so that I can be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So this is one hikmah, right? Now he says also something else which I find interesting. It's a different way to look at things. He rahimahullah says, and this is the concept of, I think I said it before, when I want special things to happen to me, when I want, I want things out of the box. I want really special experiences. I want sometimes miracles in my life. I want a special treatment. How do I get that? Right? What's the way? And he says something really interesting, and I'll say it, then I'll give you, there are many examples for this. It's actually, subhanAllah, interesting. He says, كيف تخرق لك العوائد وأنت لم تخرق من نفسك العوائد? How come you want extraordinary, unique things to happen to you in your life. And you did not, you know, things that break the norm, that you're not like other people. You know, everybody, and you're special, something really unique. You want uniqueness in your life. You want to be unique in some way, right? You want something special, unique for you. It says, how come you want unique things to happen to you, special things to happen to you, yet you did not do unique things or break the norms of yourself? Do you want the norms of life to be broken to you while you didn't break any of the norms of the self? What is he speaking about? That's a principle, by the way. And the principle, and I can show you prophetic examples of this. The Prophet ﷺ taught this many ways. That in my relationship with Allah, there is normal. Normal meaning halal normal, right? Halal normal meaning what? If I'm sick, I stay home, right? If I'm tired, I don't have to pray, right? You know, normal, regular things. Normal things of the self. If somebody insults me, I don't have to speak to him, right? What are abnormal things of the self? What are, not abnormal, bad. What are things that are considered unique? Is if I do something that other people would consider, I've never heard this before, right? Where do you find examples of this? I shared one with you, and I'm going to share it again, like very quickly. Qatada ibn Nu'man, remember that story? When Qatada ibn Nu'man, it was a rainy night and there was thunderstorms in Medina. Thunderstorms, dark, heavy rain, heavier than today. Back in the day, nobody's coming to the masjid. The sunnah is what? Sallu fi rihalikum. Pray where you're at, pray at home. So that night, the Prophet ﷺ, his house beside the masjid, he's in the masjid and nobody's there, right? And a flash of lightning happens and he sees somebody coming inside, you know, drenching wet coming from. And he says, Qatada, he recognizes, Qatada? What happened? Why did it's raining? It's not an easy thing. It's like what are you doing? And he says what? Ya Rasulullah, قد علمت أن اليوم شهده قليل فأردت أن أشهد الصلاة معك. Notice what he said. O Prophet of Allah, I realize, I know that because of the thunderstorm, every normal human beings will say what? I don't want to go out. It's raining, right? Everybody is going to be thinking this way. I want it to be different. I know that nobody's going to be coming praying with you today. I want it to be the unique one. I want it to be me. I come. Everybody's staying home and I'm coming drenching wet in front of Allah. Ya Rabbi, I came despite the rain. And I would be the only one praying with you. And that's what happened. He prayed Salat al-Isha in Masjid al-Nabawi, him and the Prophet Sallallahu. Yes, he's drenching wet. Right? And can you see what he's telling Allah? Look, Ya Rabbi. Look, I came. It's raining. I came. Right? And here I am with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now what happens after Salah? After Salah, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam tells him, Mechanic, sit where you're at. He goes to his house, comes out, gives him a branch of a tree branch. Ya Qatada, this is for you. What is that? He says, that is a tree branch. Once you step outside, this tree branch is going to become a torch. It's a miracle. This is not something normal. I'm going to break the norms for you. You're not going to walk in the dark. Take that tree branch, you step outside, and it's going to become a torchlight. Just for you. What is the lesson here? You broke the norms. You did something special for Allah. So something special is going to happen. A miracle is going to happen for you. When you do miraculous things against the self, and Allah sees that, then He breaks the norms for you. You got the idea? Now the interesting part of this, which is the more spiritual lesson, therefore in a way Qatada looked differently. The thunderstorm, which nobody likes a thunderstorm, and a thunderstorm is a metaphor. Here, metaphor for what? Unwanted experiences. There are many things in life. It can be a thunderstorm of depression, anxiety, unwanted. These things happen in life. And when people are sad and depressed, the normal thing is what? What do normal do? And it's not haram. If I'm feeling sad and down, and what is normal? What do normal human beings do? Stay in bed. What is unique? What do depressed people never do? I'm going to do that. You see how I'm thinking? So Qatada thought, there is a thunderstorm. People don't want to get wet. And it's okay. That's normal. There's nothing haram. But I want to do things which is what? Unique. Unique things cannot be done except in the presence of things like thunderstorms. So thunderstorms, negative experiences in life, may Allah protect all of us. We don't want them. But when they happen, think like Qatada. They are an opportunity for me to do something outside the box. I hope you're getting what I'm saying, right? So, and that's how you think. So let's say, I don't know, the FBI accused me with something and they're taking me to prison. What's the normal thing to do? Call care, right? That's the normal. That's everybody would do that. I hope, right? That's what you. And that's. But how do I think now? Wait a minute. I want to do something different now. They're taking me to the prison, right? And I don't know what's going to. What can I do right now that will be unique, that other people don't think? What should Allah see me doing that is out of the box, completely unheard of? You see the way of thinking? Anything that you perceive as negative, including may Allah protect all of us. I lost a loved one. When I lose a loved one, it's normal to cry. That's absolutely normal. It's normal not to go to work. What is unique when somebody dies? What should I do that other people don't? What is a dhikr that is? If I say Alhamdulillah, Allah, like, look at this. I took his beloved and he's saying Alhamdulillah. And that's what we saw in Palestine. That's why they were unique, because disasters are happening to them and people like, look, he's saying Alhamdulillah. How can he be? How can he? And when they do that, unique things, unique steadfastness comes to them. They do other things that are for us abnormal. Because they broke the norms. So Allah break the norms for them. And this is a rule, right? So here Ibn Ata'illah Secondary is saying what? How do you expect unique and wonderful things to happen in your life if you're not doing unique and wonderful things when the opportunity shows, right? So watch for those times. Watch for those times. And therefore he's saying, notice the word watch. He says, لا تترقب فراغ الأغيار فإن ذلك يقطعك عن وجود المراقبة له فيما هو مقيمك فيه. The state of watchfulness. There is a thunderstorm. There is two ways. I sit and there is a thunderstorm. Let me wait home. Look, what am I looking for? Till the cloud passes. When the cloud passes, I'll do what? I'll go out to the masjid. Saying, don't do that. Don't make your watchfulness about what? I'm sad. Let me sit till the sadness pass. Then when the sadness pass, I do something. He's saying, don't do that. Because you're missing the opportunity. Be watchful. What are you doing within that state? Your watchfulness is not like waiting for something to end so I can do in the future. No. Watch what you're doing in it, inside of it. What's my worship in it? What is my duty inside of it? Be watchful of that. Be mindful. And this is the definition of muraqabah, of watchfulness in Islam, according to Ibn al-Qayyim. Watchfulness, when we say watchfulness, what comes to our head is what? To be aware, I'm watching. To be aware of my state and what's going on and my thoughts and my feelings, right? Ibn al-Qayyim says something really powerful about muraqabah, watchfulness. He says the following: المراقبة دوام مطالعة الحق بالسير إليه في كل حال. Is the watchfulness of Allah my goal? My goal is Allah. My goal is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm very aware of Allah. By what? Watching that I'm making sure I'm walking to Him under all conditions. That nothing stops me. Meaning what? I'm sick. طيب خلاص. When I get better, I'll go to the masjid. Correct. But while you're sick, can you still worship Allah? Can you still walk to Allah? Don't stop. Don't let anything happen that causes me to do what? Stop. When it ends, I'll resume. No. Walk in the way that you can in it. So be watchful and mindful. There is different ways to walk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The journey must never stop. Don't stop. سيروا إلى الله عرجا ومكاسير فإن انتظار الصحة بطالة. Walk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even if your leg is broken and your hand is waiting till you're healthy is being jobless. Limb to Allah. That's what he's saying. Don't stop. So the idea of muraqabah is, according to this, is not just watchfulness of my state and my nafs and my heart. It's watchfulness. What am I doing in that state that is getting me close to Allah? in it. There must be something to be done. The journey should never stop. Sick, healthy, ease, hardship, I'm crying, I'm happy, I'm busy, I'm not busy. The journey continues. That's muraqabah. I do not say after, right? So that's the principle here he's, rahimahullah, he's sharing with us. Now, having said that, he says something else which I think also really interesting, and it's, I think it's in a way it's a principle, right? And what causes difficulty in life? Why is it that some people, sometimes difficult things happen in their life and they're okay, and some people, they're not? And vice versa. Sometimes good things happen to people and they're still not happy, right? What is put it this way, in psychology, any counseling theory you study, they have one thing they ask: what is the theory for pathology? What causes pathology? What causes, why are human beings happy and why are humans being not happy? What's your conceptualization of this? Each counseling theory has an idea, right? Some of them, they say relationships. When human beings have the skills to develop good relationships, they're happy. When they lack that and they cannot develop healthy relationships, they're not happy. So the cause of pathology is, for example, according to that theory, the inability to form meaningful relations. That's why. That's why you have healthy human beings and not healthy human beings, right? Then the theory will focus on that. Others will tell you distorted thinking. Some people use their mind, their thoughts are very distorted, right? They think in a very distorted way and they believe their thoughts, and then it goes into emotions and behavior, and that's the problem. If we have a way to fix the way we think, make sure that our thoughts are reasonable, that we don't believe everything, that we question our thoughts. Not every thought I have, not every feeling I have is true. If I can do that, guess what? A lot of our problems go away. That's cognitive behavior. See, each theory has a reason. Viktor Frankl tells you, human beings, they're not seeking happiness. It's about meaning. If a person has a meaning in his life, why are you doing this? He'll be okay. If he does not have a meaning in his life, even if he's happy and going to parties, inside he's miserable. Because what is it about? So what the human being is seeking is what? Meaning. You see, every theory, all nice things, right? Ibn Ata'illah al-Sakandari, what is in his view, if I was him developing a theory, what is the essence of human suffering? And what is the essence of humans' resiliency? How come there are certain humans with so terrible things happening to them, they're okay? And others, while everything is good, they commit suicide. What causes this? What is at the very core of it, what is the essence? What is it? What is the human being lacking? And I think, in my view, those are two of the most important, and it's a very interesting, it's very simple, but it's very deep, right? So this is his theory of pathology and satisfaction for a human being. He says the following, and this is number 214, 215. النعيم وإن تنوعت مظاهره فهو بشهوده واقترابه والعذاب وإن تنوعت مظاهره فهو لوجود حجابه فسبب العذاب وجود الحجاب وتمام النعيم بالنظر إلى وجه الله الكريم. And then he adds ما تجده القلوب من الهموم والأحزان فلأجل ما منعته من وجود العيان لا تحزن إن الله معنا. It's a very deep concept here. And he says the following: النعيم, pleasure, satisfaction, elation, نعيم, blessings, right? وإن تنوعت مظاهره, even if its manifestations are many. نعيم means what? For some it's a healthy life, it's a good relation. He says there is many forms of blessings, right? نعيم, pleasure, joy, even if its manifestations are thousands, right? It's actually a theory of Tawheed. It's really a theory of Tawheed, right? That under all of those different manifestations of Na'im, joy and pleasure in faith, even if they're so different and so variant, the essence of it, shuhudihi wa iqtirabihi. Shuhud is what? Witnessing. I see. What do you mean I see Allah? I don't see Allah with this. I see him. واقترابه. I feel his nearness. I see him, I understand. I see his names and attributes. I get what's going on. I know the wisdom. I see what he's doing. Shuhud. I see him. And then I see his nearness. I feel it. I'm not alone. The essence of pleasure is being with Allah. Is that state of experientially. You know when you feel you're with someone in human relations, isn't that true? The essence of when I love someone, what do you want? I just want to be near her, near him, right? And as long as I'm near him and I see them and I understand them and they understand me and we feel the proximity and we're hugging each other, things are good. Actually, literally, I don't feel other things. The example he gives in his other book, the same point, but in Tanweer, Isqat al-Tadbir, he says, Yusuf alayhi salam. He uses the story of Yusuf in a very physical way. Remember the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? He was a beautiful human being, right? And the wife of Al-Aziz did something really interesting. She invited all the women, and what did she do? Gave them knives and fruits, start cutting. And then while they're cutting the fruits, she asked Yusuf, do what? Just pass. And the Quran says what? When they were so mesmerized by seeing the beauty of Yusuf. See? Beautiful. Right? And they say what? ما هذا بشر. This is not a human. This is not a physical beauty. No. This is angelic. They saw a beauty this is not a human beauty of a physical nature. It's beyond. It's an angel walking. Right? This angelic beauty, when it was revealed to them, what happened? They were so mesmerized that when they're cutting the fruits, what are they doing? They started cutting their hands and they did not feel the pain. You see what he's saying? So mesmerized by the beauty of Yusuf alayhi salam and this state of shuhud that literally physical pain is unfelt. So Ibn Ata'illah al-Sakandari is saying, can you imagine someone being mesmerized by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Doesn't feel anything in that state. There are many examples. Asiya alayhi salam, if you remember, like the story, the wife of the Pharaoh, this wicked person. And she says, La ilaha illallah. And the Pharaoh, the one that subdued nations, he could not do anything against his wife. His wife actually won. And he became very upset. And he starts torturing her. Physical pain. And then what does Allah do to her? Now, that's from outside, you say, Ya Rabbi, look, this is a person saying, La ilaha illallah. Oh my, it's painful. That's outside. Outside, that's what I'm seeing. Pain, right? What's happening inside? What did Allah do to her? He wants to relieve her pain. What did he do? He didn't kill the Pharaoh. He can remove the Pharaoh and remove the pain, but he did something else. All what he did is what? He showed her a house in Jannah. That's it. He just opened the sight. Look, this is Jannah. When she said that, you know what happened? Her last word? By Allah, I see my place in Jannah. And she smiled. She started smiling. She's being tortured. And can you imagine the Pharaoh? What do you do to this person? What can you do? It's pain, but anesthesia, spiritual anesthesia. Anesthesia, you can be cutting my body and I don't feel a thing. I'm in bliss. Shuhud, when Allah opens that door, when He does, and a person realizes the nearness of Allah and he sees His reward, and it masks everything. Nothing matters. The joy that this brings to the heart, and this is what Ibn Ata'illah al-Sakandari is saying, is unimaginable. So saying the utmost joy the human being will be well in this life if he's saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu is meaning what? I see. I'm near. I'm with Allah. If I'm in that state, he's saying what? Whatever happens, this utmost joy, nothing can take it away. Other things are just different manifestations. Then you see Allah giving me food, Allah giving me kids, Allah, great. But at the essence of it is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And then he says the opposite. Wal adhab, pain, torment, which happens in this life. وَإِن تَنَوَّعَتْ مَظَاهِرُهُ. There is many forms of that, loss of a loved one, physical, disease, tyrants doing what they're doing. Many physical pain, right? Exists. وَالْعَذَابُ وَإِن تَنَوَّعَتْ مَظَاهِرُهُ فَهُوَ لِوُجُودِ حِجَابِ. is because I cannot see Allah. I have been veiled. Something veiled me. Veiled meaning what? Allah's there, right? It's not that Allah's gone. But I am veiled. Something came in between me and Him. I can no longer feel His nearness. I can no longer understand Him. When this happened, I feel left to myself. Saying the pain of the human being when he's disconnected. When he no longer sees, it's not in sight of Allah. When he's distant, he does not feel. If that happened to the human being and he's by himself, we were not created to be by ourselves. That's the essence of all pain, all problems, loneliness, anxiety, depression. You can't take anything in life by yourself. If anything veils me from Allah, basically, Allah nuru samawati wal ard. Allah is the source of light. If something veils the light of Allah, I'm left with darkness. Darkness is not only scary, darkness is death. No plants grow in darkness. No life in darkness. I can't see any. Without Nur Samawati wal Ard, I'm by myself, I'm in dark, it is painful. Right? And there is one ayah in the Quran, on the day of judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says regarding people that did bad, كَلَّا إِنَّهُمْ عَنْ رَبِّهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَمَحْجُوبُونَ ثُمَّ إِنَّهُمْ لَصَالُو الْجَحِيمِ. No, on that day, they will be veiled from their Lord. Then they will taste hellfire. Now this hijab, this idea of being veiled from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the essence of human suffering. And now the Ata secondary, like in explaining this, scholars say, so what veils us from Allah? Why is it that some human beings, including people that say La ilaha illallah, I bear witness, what is it that comes and abstracts this? And scholars identify 4 of those. They say there are 4 things that causes a person on the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be veiled. 1, the love of other than Allah. Too much attachment to the worldly life. That's a veil. When I'm so much attached into created things, the creation becomes a veil from the Creator. Right? So that's 1. The second, al-asbab, which we spoke a lot about. When I see cause and effect, I do, I get. It becomes me and I don't see that Allah's doing anything for me. Saying when too much of cause and effect becomes what? A veil. I depend on myself too much. That's a veil, right? And they said there is 2 other ones for the people that are going for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say overly focused on the external of religious acts without caring about the internal side of it. That's beautiful, and those are like veils of light, I would call them. It's okay to say, how do I worship? How do I stand? How do I put my hands, right? But imagine a person is absolutely 100% focused on the outward, with nothing in the inward. It's outward fiqh. That's beautiful, but it says that becomes a veil, because you think what I'm focused on is the outward with nothing inward. That's a problem. That's an imbalance in knowledge that can actually veil me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the 4th? That's actually the most subtle one. Intoxicated by spiritual gifts. The spiritual gifts of Allah. The states that Allah sends on me. Sometimes I enjoy it so much that I want it, I look at it, I see the gift, not the giver. The 2 last ones are very high, subhanAllah. So here, I'm going to give you a poetry by someone who really lived that state. That it's all about what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His nearness, His sight, being close to Him. And when one achieves this, it does something that nothing else does. A person is in a joy that you cannot describe at all. Right? And it's the most beautiful thing, it's nobody can take it away from you. Because it's not based on a created thing. I'm really independent, right? And that poetry is said by someone who's in that state of aspiring and wanting to be in that state all the time, right? And she, rahimahullah, says, فَلَيْتَكَ تَحْلُو وَالْحَيَاةُ مَرِيرًا وَلَيْتَكَ تَرْضَى وَالْأَنَامُ غِضَابُ وَلَيْتَ الَّذِي بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكَ عَامِرٌ وَبَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ الْعَالَمِينَ خَرَابُ إن نلت منك الود فالكل هين وكل الذي فوق التراب تراب. And I used AI to translate it because it's a poem, right? So it's very hard to make it rhyme in English, right? So it gave me the following, which actually was interesting. This is speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not a lover, because some people read this in the context of a he and she, you know. Sometimes they read poetry. This is not a he-she thing. This is what a person with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If only you were sweet, though life be bitter and dark. If only you were pleased, though the world bears its mark. If what lies between us were firm and alive, and all else around us would crumble, not thrive. If I gain your love, then all else is small, for dust is but dust, no matter how tall. Oh, if I could drink of your pure tender grace, the Nile would seem but a mirage to chase. You see, like, it's all about what? Rida. Are you just pleased with me? If I can only see and feel, ask yourself, what would you do if you see the Prophet ﷺ in a dream and he tells you, I am pleased with you, Allah is pleased with you. And you wake up, what happens? How would you feel that day? Doesn't matter, khalas. You'll be smiling, what would you do? How would you feel? Does anything else matter? Khalas, I'm done. I'm happy. I'm smiling, grinning. Allah's happy. The Prophet told me, that's it. I felt it. I've seen it. You see that? And once that happens, life is like, you look to life and you'll be good, but you'll be living this life and it's a joy. That's the state of shuhud. That's the state, I'm in a state of witnessing. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. That's ihsan. And ta'bud Allah ka'annaka tarah. That I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if I see Him. And if I'm not aware that He sees me, that I see Him, or like I'm aware that He sees me. This idea that like I'm living, can you imagine Allah's looking at me, what does He see? And I'm in His presence and I feel His need. Anything that causes this, I'm living in a bliss. Once I do things, a hijab happens and I'm no longer in that state and I'm left to myself, that's where human suffering happens. Right? So Ibn Ata'illah secondary is saying what the essence, I put it in one word. What is give me in one word, you know, the diseases of the heart? There's so many, right? Name some: arrogance, self-admiration, riya, right? No, envy. If you want to summarize all the diseases of the heart in one, what is it? According to him, shuhud as-suwa is being in sight of that which is other than Allah. Riya, showing off, is what? Instead of looking at Allah, I'm looking at the creation of Allah. I see others other than Him, and that is a problem. Arrogance. I see me and what I'm doing and my abilities and my power and my eloquence. I see me. Where is Allah, you see? Once my sight falls on other than Allah and I'm blocked with it, shuhud as-suwa, and I no longer see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will breed problems for the human being. And the idea of Tawheed, all what he's teaching is what? How can I go through life doing what I'm doing while witnessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in it? In what I'm doing. Witness His names and attributes in whatever I'm doing. I do not get veiled by anything. That the creation of Allah reveals Allah, not veil Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is, I think, the essence of his teaching. I think I'll stop here, inshallah. For today, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us in that state of shuhud, that we always live this life and we do things and we're in the state of living as if we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if we're not, at least we're aware that He is looking and seeing us. May Allah grant us this proximity and nearness of Him, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to see His different names and attributes manifested in whatever He decides to give us in our lives. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to reach Him in this life in the fullest way before we finally reach Him in the hereafter. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر جزاكم الله خير. إياكم.